Hi, hello, welcome to Knit in the City. I am back in the city. This is definitely going to be the last time I'm filming from here. I'm in the process of emptying this apartment, as you can see behind me, because there's nothing left. So it's a bit barren today. But I will be putting pictures of projects or designs over here. So it's going to be a bit more colorful eventually. This episode is a holiday gift knits episode, just in time for you to be able to make these things. All of these are smaller projects, and I have actually put these into categories where I tell you approximately how much time you will need to safely finish these objects. I may be off here and there, but yeah, I tried. Some of these projects are great for using up leftovers. Some of these designs are free patterns, which is always nice when you're making gifts. Yes. I have made a Ravelry bundle with all these patterns, and in this bundle I have also linked a few Christmas decorations, which I'm not going to talk about in the episode, but if that is something you feel like making, they will be in there. If you have very little time, you have like a day of knitting ahead of you before you have to present something to someone, I have a few options for this. And the first pattern is The Slice of Citrus by Alyssa Brown. And this is a free pattern. And if you are going to knit some coasters, these are definitely the ones. They are super cute. You can make any citrus fruit you like just by choosing a different color yarn. In the pattern, oranges and lemons are featured. And with this project, you start from the center and work your way out. And this is a great pattern for small scraps of yarn. The coasters are knit in a DK weight yarn, DK weight cotton actually, on 3.75 and 4.5 millimeter needles, which is a US 5 and 7. And these are of course super quick, and you can make a few of them, quite a few of them in a day actually. The next pattern is the Mini Cat by a knitter. These are so cute and also super quick to knit. This is also a free pattern where you can use teeny tiny scraps of yarn. The body only has 17 rows in it. They're knit in a DK weight yarn on 3 millimeter needles, and you can knit 1 or 10, and the gauge is not important. That just makes them smaller or bigger. The finished cat in the sample is 4 centimeters tall. And when the knitting is done, you have to stuff them and sew them together. But that also shouldn't take too long. The next pattern is also a cute animal. It is Hedgehogs by Addie Whitfield. And this is also a free pattern. The body is made using a pattern called Trinity Stitch, where you make several stitches from one and then decrease them back together again to make these little baubles. It's knit on 4 millimeter needles or US 6 in a chunky yarn. The hedgehog is knit flat, then seamed together and filled with stuffing and then seamed together. This is a little bit bigger than the cat. It's 16 centimeters long and 8 centimeters high. And you can of course make it in a different yarn weight to make them bigger or smaller. The next really quick gift is I Am the Gift headband by Made Me Knitted. This has a cute bow at the front. It's also a free pattern, and it is a made to measure pattern, so you can make it to fit any size head you like, which is good when you're making gifts. It's knit in an Aran weight yarn on 6mm needles, which is a US 10, and it only uses 90 to 110 meters of yarn, which is 98 to 120 yards. If you have a few days, these patterns would be suitable. You have a little bit more time now. And the first one is the Cabin Slippers by Isolde Teague. And these brioche slippers are knit in the round, starting at the cuff. The increases form a decorative line down the foot, and the sole is knit in garter stitch back and forth. The only seaming you have to do is a little hole on the heel of the foot. And these come in 10 sizes, which is great when you're making gifts. It's Kid S to Adult 3XL, so you can make a pair for everyone in your family. And this pattern can be bought separately or in an ebook called Knitworthy 7, where you can find more patterns that are suitable for gifts. These slippers are knit in an Aran weight yarn on 4mm needles or US 6. The next project is a free pattern, and this is the soft and cushy hat from Pearl Soho. The hat is knit in half brioche, which gives it its cushiness. It's knit from the brim up and has a folded brim. You knit the hat inside out and then turn it. It comes in 5 sizes, baby to adult large, and it is knit in a worsted weight yarn on 5mm needles or US 8. The next pattern is the Knit Pearl Mitts by Svetlana Volkova. These 1/1 rib mitts are worked from the bottom up in the round. They come in 5 sizes, XS to XL. They're knit in a DK weight yarn on 3.25mm needles or US 3. And there is also a matching knit pearl beanie, which has to be purchased separately, but it looks really nice. So, and it wasn't very expensive, so it's probably worth it if you want to make a set. You would need a bit more time if you're going to make both of them, but yes. The next one is a free pattern. It's the Frosty Apple by Drops Design. And this is a hat knit in the round. It's a top-down hat actually, knit in the round, and it has a folded brim. And the increases make a decorative pattern on the top of the hat. It comes in 3 double sizes, SM to LXL. It's knit in an Aran weight yarn on 3.5mm needles or US 4. And the next category is things that you can knit if you have a week. So if you have a bit more time, these are some nice patterns that you can sink your teeth into. The first one is the Alex Scarf by Pernille Larsen from Knitting for Olive. And this scarf comes in a few different sizes, so you can adjust for time. The smallest could be made in a shorter amount of time than this. It could probably just take a couple of days, or if you're really quick, one day. The scarf is knit in 2/2 rib from tip to tip. You make increases until you reach the midpoint, and then you start decreasing. And this makes it easy to use up whatever amount of yarn that you have. You just use half of the yarn, or a little less than half of the yarn, and then you start the decreases. And the scarf comes in 3 different sizes, S to L, and you could use whatever yarn weight you choose, which will of course affect the size of your scarf. The sample scarves are knit in different yarns for different sizes. The smallest one is knit in a fingering weight, the medium size in a fingering held with a lace, and the large size is knit in a worsted weight yarn held with a lace, on respectively 2.5, 3 and 5.5mm needles, which is a US 1.5, 2.5 and 9. The next one is a shawl, the Banbridge shawl by Brenda Brayfield. I mean, when you look at it, I would say this is a scarf too. It's like a bigger scarf. It has a decorative slip stitch pattern, and the same construction as the Alex scarf, meaning that you knit it from tip to tip. And this makes it easily customizable to the amount of yarn that you have. Here you can also choose your shape, either a shallow crescent or a triangle. And the pattern comes with a PDF where you get 6 different ways or sizes to knit the shawl. It's knit in a fingering weight yarn on 3.75 millimeter needles, which is a US 5, I think. I didn't note that down, but I think it's a US 5. The next one is a hat. It's the Snow Globe by Tin Can Knits. And this hat is a little bit more involved than the previous ones because of the all-over cable pattern, but it's still manageable within a week. And this hat comes in 7 sizes, which is also great, from baby to adult large. It's knit in a worsted weight yarn on 3.5 and 4 millimeter needles, which is a US 4 and 6. And this hat can be purchased separately or as part of an ebook that contains 12 patterns altogether. And the next few patterns include some color work, somewhat bigger pieces, or is something you need to make 2 of. So I have put the amount of time that I've estimated that you need is about 2 weeks. And the first one is the Coastal Drift Mittens by Manon Drolet. And these mittens are knit from the, I wrote cuff down, but it's obviously cuff up in the round, and they have a pretty lace pattern on the back of the hand. The pattern explains that this is supposed to look like drifting sands, but it kind of looks like a fir tree as well. They come in 2 sizes, and they're knit in a fingering or a lace. Knit in a fingering or a lace held together. They're knit in a fingering and a lace held together, but you can exchange this for a DK weight yarn if you like. They're knit on 3.5 and 4 millimeter needles, which is a US 4 and 6. The next one is the Halibut Cowl by Caitlin Hunter. And this is a simple cowl with a beautiful colorwork motif. And it's stranded colorwork. And the halibut pattern also comes as a sweater, a cardigan, a hat, and mittens. So you can make a whole set if you have the time. It only comes in 1 size, and it's knit in the round in a DK weight yarn on 3.75 and 4 millimeter needles, which is a US 5 and 6. The next one is a bag, and this is the Dumpling Bag by Jeannie Lee for Pearl Soho. So this is a free pattern, and this bag is such a classic, but it has a modern twist. It's knit from the bottom up in the round, starting with a provisional cast on, and after you're done, you Kitchener stitch the bottom and the handles together. It's knit in 1 size in a DK weight yarn on 3.75 millimeter needles, which is a US 5. And the sample is knit in 100% linen yarn. The next pattern is a pair of socks called Slow Morning DK by Camille Heng. And I picked a pair of DK weight socks because that's obviously quicker than a pair of fingering weight socks. This is also a free pattern, and this timeless ribbed pair is knit cuff down with a short row heel. They're perfect for beginner sock knitters because they come with a video tutorial, both in English and in French, so you can choose your language here. They come in 3 sizes, and you can either hold 2 strands of fingering weight yarn together or a single strand of DK weight yarn. They're knit on 3 millimeter needles or US 2.5. The next project is also a sock pattern. And these are the Midsummer Night Socks by Melody Hoffman. And I instantly loved these socks when I saw them. I also instantly bought them. Despite the name, I would not wear them on midsummer though, because they're knitted with a lace weight wool held with a lace mohair, which would make them pretty warm. These socks are knit cuff down, the way I like it, with a heel flap and gusset, also like that. The pattern contains 2 versions, one sport DK and one Aran weight. And the Aran weight version features a fingering weight yarn held with a thicker mohair. The thinner sock comes in 3 sizes and it's knit on 3mm needles, US 2.5. The thicker comes in 2 sizes and it's knit on 3.5mm needles, US 4. And the little colorwork motif is supposed to be a moth. The next pattern is the Nivalis scarf by Titi Lutzak. And this beautiful scarf features a new to me technique called inlay colorwork. When I first saw it, I thought that this was mosaic knitting, but it's not. This is an Estonian colorwork technique, apparently. The scarf is knit from the middle in 2 directions, so that is also fairly interesting. The single colored parts are garter stitch. There is also a bigger Nivalis scarf and a Nivalis pullover, if you like this pattern. The scarf is 1 size and it measures 126 centimeters over the wingspan, which is 50.5 inches. And the depth is 22 centimeters or 8.75 inches. It's knit in an unspun yarn, but any sport or DK weight yarn can be used according to the designer. And it's knit on 4mm needles, which is a US 6. These last few patterns are all stranded colorwork patterns, knit with thinner yarns. So if you have, not all of them are thinner yarns, but they're a bit more involved. So if you have a bit of time to put aside, you will be able to make these. And I have put 3 weeks as a point of reference. And what I noticed when I wrote my notes for this is that all of these patterns come from the same designer. So I don't know, she just makes the most beautiful stranded colorwork designs. So I hope you'll be fine with that. The first one is a hat called Blomstra or Bloom by Kaisa Vuorela, is the designer. And this is such a stunning hat with an all over flower motif. The hat is knit bottom up in the round and you start with a single colored brim and then you continue with a floral pattern. The single color will not show, but you will have a triple brim, or it will be a triple layer where the brim is. The hat comes in 3 sizes with a recommended negative ease of 0 to 7 centimeters, which is 0 to 2.75 inches. It's knit in a fingering weight held with a lace, it's a mohair yarn, on 3.75mm needles or US 5. From the same designer are the Flora slippers, and these are really cute. You start by knitting the heel, then make the opening for the foot and end with a toe. And these come in 3 double sizes, 36, 37 to 40, 41. The slipper is made with stranded colorwork in a DK weight yarn on 3.75mm needles, which is a US 5. The next pattern is a pair of mittens. These are called the Julius mittens. I love how these mittens feel both traditional and contemporary at the same time. They're worked from the cuff up and they have a double folded cuff. They come in 2 men's sizes. They're knit in a sport weight yarn on 2.5mm needles, which is a US 1.5. And the last pattern is the Islandos socks by the same designer, Kaisa Vuorela. I really went bananas in her Ravelry store. But the Norwegian Icelander sweater has had a revival lately. I have seen a lot of people make it, and it is such a stunning classic piece. And here is a fun adaptation for a pair of socks. The pattern page doesn't tell you whether this is a toe up or a cuff down pattern, so here's a surprise for you. But the socks seem to have a heel flap. They come in 3 sizes and they're knit in a fingering weight yarn on 2.5mm needles or US 1.5. So this is probably the one that will take the most time. That was all I had to talk about today. I feel like I really rushed it, but I hope that some of these are interesting to you, and maybe there will be some gifts made from these. Thank you so much for watching, and have a lovely day, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye!